What's going on, everyone? Coming back to you with another hopefully informative video for you today. This pertains to the workforce business industry, which you all should be in. If you're watching this video, you obviously had an encounter recently or in the past, or looking to see how to minimize the potential for that to happen in the future, which is inevitable. But anyways, so I just wanted to throw out a couple tips on how to deal with angry customers. There's really no easy way around it. It sucks. Confrontation sucks with customers, especially if it's your own business or your own service product that you're providing. Because you really, you want everyone to be happy. You want all your customers to love it. And the fact of the reality is, it's not possible. There's not a single company in the world that has 100% customer satisfaction rate. I don't care. You look from the biggest, most popular companies, Apple, go look at their reviews, go look at independent studies online, and you'll see tons of angry people. And sometimes they just don't have anything better to do than to, I guess they're miserable, so they take it out on other people, and that's how they get off in some way. It's weird. It's like I said, it's not a fun situation to be in, but it's something. If you're in the workforce, you're in the customer service industry, you will encounter it at some point. It's inevitable. It's not if, it's when. So hopefully a couple of tips will help you get through it easier, and the customer will leave happy. So tip number one, let's check the handy dandy notepad. De-escalate the situation by listening. So this has actually worked a lot for me in the past. Sometimes customers, you just have to let them rant. You have to let them yell. You have to let them get out what they want. And by listening instead of speaking, you avoid the argument that will only further escalate and make tensions rise in the conversation. So if you can, try and hear them out first before jumping to a conclusion. Don't come in with a bias. If you have a employee come up to you, say, hey, this customer is just outraged, they're not right, blah, blah, blah. Try and think of a way of how I cannot take a loss on this, but also I can give the customer what they want, so they leave satisfied and happy with us. And it's happened to me time and time again where I'll have some pretty outright customers I've had in the past where they just, for some reason, they just want to yell. And I won't say it's acceptable, but to a certain point, I can take it. I've had it happen, and if it's in a setting where there's other customers around, definitely don't recommend letting that happen, because that's not a good look for you, and that's not a good look for your company in general. So, for example, I had one before where he was pretty upset, pretty irate, and he was obviously had a raised tone of voice when he was speaking with me when I was trying to hear him out. So I said, hey, let's step outside real quick, man, get some fresh air, and let's talk, me and you, and see how we can resolve this. And so I let him go on his rant. I heard him out, I listened, and he was clearly in the wrong. But in business, you kind of have to think the customer is always right, no matter what situation, because it really is all about the customer. But anyways, I heard him out, and just that alone in itself, just sitting there and listening to him, by the time he was done and I started talking to him, he was a completely different person. His demeanor changed. He was complete 360. He was not angry. He was more of a calm, just understandable. And I offered to give him the service free, and he didn't take it. He said, no, I want to pay. He's like, I want to get the job done. I want to pay. And I don't know. I think just me being level-headed, being calm, listening, not interrupting while he was ranting, waiting till he was finished, then proceeding to tell him how we could solve this issue helped a lot. And I obviously didn't want him coming back to the store to do any more service, because I knew he's a liability, he's an issue, but he left that day as a happy customer. So sometimes listening before you jump to a conclusion, before you try and start an argument, solves it in itself. Another tip, let's see, tip number 2, never react off of emotion. This is huge because if you think about it, think of a time when you were mad and you made a quick reaction, how many times you regretted that. It's the same with dealing with issues in this situation. You know, people can say some pretty harsh stuff, and that's just the reality of the business. Some people suck. There's no way around it. There's no other way to put it. They just suck. They're bad people. There's good, evil in this world, and you have to deal with it all. And like I said, some of them, especially if you're a e-commerce platform person and you're dealing with emails or reviews, people are a lot more brave on the internet than they are in person, face to face. So that's something that unfortunately is a negative for the internet, but it is what it is in today's culture. But do not, it's really hard, especially if it's your own business or your own product or service, to not take it personal. But if you take that factor out of it, then it becomes a whole lot easier to assess the situation and to de-escalate and get it resolved. And that's just something, it takes time to work on. Patience, be slow to anger, and be quick to listen, slow to anger, and just go from there. If they continue to throw insults, jabs, say, you know what? If you want to continue this kind of manner, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I'm gonna ask you to leave nicely, or we can sit here like adults and have a conversation and get to the bottom of this and see what's a good solution for both of us, so that you leave here happy and I'm in a good place to continue my business. Let's see. Three kind of tied into number 2, and it's just don't take it personal. Once you start taking it, once that gets involved, ego is the biggest. Ego will bring down a company completely. If you let your ego get in the way, forget it. You're gonna get you and that customer are gonna get nowhere. You'll probably end up in a fist fight if you let your ego get in the way. So you absolutely cannot have an ego. You just have to let that completely go, and you're there for the customer, so you have to think of it that way. You can't base it off, I mean, you can, but you can't base it off your terms. It's all in the customer's interest. So your goal is to have that customer leave there happy, and that's it, bottom line. So if you let ego get involved, I guarantee you that will not happen. It will only further escalate. And you'll probably get bad reviews online, and you will not have a happy customer. So drop a comment below. Let me know what you think, what you've done, and let me know situations in the past, how you've handled bad people, angry people, and yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good one.